I never imagined a Christmas Eve family gathering could turn into the most stressful night of my life. I never imagined that a simple dinner, one filled with laughter, homemade food, and people I loved, could make me feel like a criminal. And I certainly never imagined that the person who would nearly ruin it all would be the one man everyone in the neighborhood feared, the HOA representative, Mr. Carlyle. But before I tell you how the night spiraled into chaos, how he stepped onto my property uninvited, how he threatened to fine me more money than my entire Christmas budget, let me take you back to the moment everything started to feel wrong. It was the morning of December 24th, Christmas Eve. And in our home, that day means something special. My mother started the tradition decades ago. Every Christmas Eve, the whole family comes together, not for gifts, not for big productions, just for food, warmth, and a night where everyone feels like they belong. This year was extra important. My sister was coming home after years abroad. My cousins, who hadn't visited in ages, were finally flying in. And my father, who had been in and out of hospitals all year, was well enough to join us at the table. For the first time in years, our home was full of hope. I spent the whole morning preparing. Cinnamon rolls in the oven, warm lights around the windows, a soft snowfall outside. They said it would be the first white Christmas our town had seen in over a decade. By noon, I already felt like I was in a holiday movie, because at 12:47 p.m., I remember the exact time. A black SUV rolled slowly down the street and stopped right in front of my driveway. The driver's side door opened, and out stepped him, Mr. Carlyle, the HOA representative, the man who walked around every December with a clipboard like it was a weapon, tall, sharp, cold, always expressionless, except for the slight look of disappointment he reserved for anyone violating even the smallest HOA rule. He wasn't supposed to be working today. The HOA office was closed for the holidays. But of course, he wasn't here for work. He was here for something much worse. He was here because of a complaint. I didn't even know what complaint he could possibly be talking about. I hadn't done anything wrong. At least, I thought I hadn't. He walked up to my doorway and knocked 3 times, hard, like he wanted the whole house to hear. I opened the door with a smile, trying to be polite. "Good afternoon, Miss Carter," he said in his usual monotone voice. "Hi, Mr. Carlyle. Is there a problem? It's Christmas Eve." "Yes," he replied. "In fact, there is." Just like that. No greeting, no happy holidays. Just straight into the confrontation. He glanced past me into my home, taking inventory of every little detail like he was inspecting a crime scene. "I've received a report," he said, "that your household is planning to host an unauthorized gathering." I actually laughed at first. I thought he was joking. "An unauthorized gathering?" I asked. "It's a family dinner. More than 6 vehicles were observed arriving yesterday evening," he said, checking his tablet. "And today, additional vehicles are expected. That classifies as an event." "Event?" "It's Christmas Eve," I said. "Everyone in the country is having gatherings." "Yes," he replied calmly, "but this neighborhood has rules. Rules, that word again. Rules, his golden shield." I stepped outside onto the porch, trying not to let my temper show. "Mr. Carlyle, my family hasn't been together in years. My father is finally well enough to travel. My sister flew 12 hours just to be here. This is not some party or wild event." He blinked slowly, the way he always did when he didn't care. "I'm simply informing you of your violation," he said. "If more than 6 vehicles are parked on the street during a private gathering, fines will be issued. The HOA must maintain order." He spoke the word order like he believed he was guarding national security instead of worrying about parking spaces. I tried reasoning with him. "We can park in our driveway," I said. "We can carpool. We can do whatever you need. But please, this is Christmas Eve. Can't you let this go for just one night?" But he shook his head. "The HOA does not operate on emotional exceptions." Those 8 words burned into my mind. The HOA does not operate on emotional exceptions. He left after that, promising to monitor the situation. And that was when the anxiety started, because his threats weren't empty. Everyone in the neighborhood had heard stories. Families fined hundreds of dollars for leaving their trash cans out an hour too long. A man fined for having a birthday balloon tied to his mailbox. A woman fined for having a garden gnome, just one. So I knew he would be back. And he was. Fast forward to that night. Snow falling outside, Christmas lights glowing, my family finally together, the sound of laughter filling the house. For a moment, everything felt perfect again. Then at 7:32 p.m., the doorbell rang. The kind of ring that instantly kills the mood. I opened the door, and there he was, standing in the cold, holding his clipboard, looking like joy physically pained him. "Miss Carter," he said, "I've identified 9 vehicles associated with your gathering. This is a violation." "I'm issuing a notice." I paused, stunned. "You're fining us," I said, "for having Christmas Eve dinner?" "It is not about Christmas," he replied. "It is about compliance." My family stood behind me, watching, silent. My father looked heartbroken. My sister was furious. My cousins were whispering in disbelief. "It's Christmas Eve," I said quietly. "Why are you doing this?" He took a step forward onto my property. "Because rules must be followed," he said. That was it. That was the moment something inside me snapped. "Get off my property," I said. My voice didn't shake. "Not anymore." He looked surprised. No one ever talked back to him. "This notice must be signed," he insisted. "I'm not signing anything," I said. "And you need to leave." He stared at me for a long moment, then dropped the notice onto the porch and turned away. But he wasn't done, not even close, because the next morning, Christmas morning, I found a new letter taped to my door. A fine. A massive fine. Far more than I expected. But what he didn't expect was my response, done being bullied by someone who hid behind rules. So instead of quietly accepting it, I fought back. I went through the HOA handbook page by page. I found contradictions, loopholes and clauses he clearly didn't expect anyone to read. I compiled every example of him selectively enforcing rules. And then I contacted an attorney, one who knew HOA law inside and out. We filed a formal complaint, not just against the fine, but against his conduct. When the HOA board reviewed everything, they discovered something interesting. Mr. Carlyle had overstepped, repeatedly, and not just with me. He had been abusing authority for months, harassing multiple homeowners, issuing fines outside documented policy, and conducting inspections without authorization. And that was all they needed. He was removed from his position. My fine, void, erased, no record of it at all. A letter of apology. From the HOA. I framed it. By next Christmas, the neighborhood was different, calmer, kinder. People decorated more freely, families parked wherever they needed, and gatherings, especially on holidays, were no longer treated like criminal activity. My Christmas Eve story became something of a legend on our street. And now, every year when I see cars lining the road, families going from house to house, lights glowing late into the night, I smile. Because sometimes all it takes is one person standing up. One person saying, "Enough." And one unforgettable Christmas Eve to remind everyone that rules don't matter more than being human. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I drop new HOA stories every week, and every single one is wilder than the last. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around.